like, what would your advice be to young teachers who are coming up in the field, and also to students who are kind of trying to go for this sort of student-centered learning model? Just like on a more positive note, how we can move forward as a society. And yeah.
I think the number one thing would be that you have your own philosophy of education. And by education, I do not mean a subject. I mean that how do you want to see yourself and your students progress and develop along the time. If you have a very set philosophy that you want to do something, stick to it. Unless or until you have major issues and you're failing, then of course it's good to revise and reflect. But stick to what you believe in and start improving upon your methods, and that would be really good for you. People are always going to be around you who would kind of put the education as a subject or as a major, or even education in general, this career in general, not good for you, or they would say that it doesn't pay well or it's not satisfying, etc. But if you really want to do it, just go ahead and invest in your development, your learning first, and then move towards the children or move towards learners. That would be one of the biggest things you can do for yourself.
And what about for students who are kind of stuck in this in-between phase of people telling them that go for the traditional approach, but on the other hand, they're kind of seeing that these sort of new models are popping up which kind of appeal to them more. So how do you kind of navigate that route?
I think the suggestion or advice would remain the same, but it totally depends on you as a student, how you're self-regulated in your methods. So I am a product of a very traditional classrooms. I'm from a very small city. I did my matriculation and then intermediate from a very small city, but my methods were always different. So I had to kind of switch between traditional and modern methods every day in a classroom. So I would do whatever the teachers would want me to do, which is very, very wrong. But I would then relearn it, whatever the knowledge was, through internet or through different resources, and that would actually give me a good point of view. Fortunately, schools, especially private schools, are moving towards a new and modern method. Some of them have already kind of adopted it. There are very few schools who are doing it, but most of them are moving towards new methods. So students do not have to be two-faced with their learning. But I think if you're just self-regulated and you have this will to move on towards modern methods and apply different strategies and improve your critical thinking as well, that would be great. I know these advices or these suggestions are very, very personal, but I have one belief that nobody can learn for you. You can only learn for yourself. So you really need to focus on your personal self, दोनों पैरे की चीजें पर, and then move towards the outer self.
So, I mean, just as like a concluding remark from my side is that I'm really glad people like you are now in the field of professions of teaching, because the type of power you have in that regard, right? You're literally raising or like creating personalities of the future generations. So I think because you have the proper tools, you have done extensive sort of learning in that regard, and you have all these qualifications. So I am really glad, because जब भी लोग कहते हैं ना कि हाँ हमारे साथ तो ऐसे हुआ लेकिन अब future में हम ऐसे अच्छा करेंगे, so that future is here now, like you're kind of proof of that fact. So I think that's like really amazing.
To kind of wrap up everything up is that no matter who you are, no matter which section you're from, please never give up and try to learn as much as possible. People are going to put you down at each and every step, and I'm not going to make it emotional, but this is the reality of the society we're living in. There are going to be economic barriers, there are going to be financial barriers, but I have seen with my own eyes some of my students in extreme financial crisis and personal crisis have risen and are now studying in the United States or in first world countries and completing their graduate studies. So there's never a block in your life unless or until you believe it to be an obstacle yourself. So never give up and enjoy your life. Do something which you really want to do instead of someone telling you what to do. You can always find a middle ground, and that is, I think, pretty much it.